what is up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So we are still doing our FreeCodeCamp walkthrough, and in this video we are going to build this Picasso painting you see right here, and we are going to do it using solely HTML and CSS. And yeah, I'm really excited about this one because this looks very beautiful and colorful. Yeah, so let's get straight into it. All right, so before we go, I also want to mention that we've already done videos for all of these, so you can check them out. Let's get started with this one with step 1. So we're going to work through 8 to 9 steps. Okay, so let's start with step 1. Okay, so start by setting up your HTML structure. Okay, so we'll add a doc type declaration like so, and this is going to tell our browser the kind of document we want it to read. In this case, it's an HTML document, so we also write our HTML attribute like so, and then we're going to give it a language attribute or lang attribute to the value of en for English. All right, within the HTML elements, add a head element and a body element. So let's add a head element, and we're also going to add a body element. So add a body element like so. All right, so that should be it for this step. Now the next step is to, within our head element, add a meta tag. Okay, so add a meta tag, and we'll give it a char set attribute. The value of char set is going to be UTF-8, and we'll also add a title element, and we're going to give it some text. Picasso painting, that's the text that we're going to give it. UTF-8. Your char set attribute should be set to U or UTF, not UFT. UTF-8. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is to go ahead and link our CSS with the HTML. Okay, so the way we do that is to use the link element. Now we're going to give this link element a real attribute with a value of style sheet, and then we also give it an href with a value of styles.css. All right, so for step 4, Font Awesome is a library of SVG powered icons, many of which are freely available to use. Okay, so you will be using some of these icons in this project. So you will need to link the external style sheet to your HTML. Okay, so Font Awesome is it's this website, and they have a lot of icons that you can use in your project. Okay, so that's what we'll be using. We'll be using some of their icons, and the way we can use it, one way we can use it is to add a link. So we use the link element array of style sheet like so, and then the href is going to be this URL here, which will point us to Font Awesome, where we can get access to all of the icons. Okay, so all right, let's continue. To get your painting started, we want to give the body. Now we are in our styles.css, so we want to give the body element a background color. So we say background color of RGB. Now RGB stands for red, green and blue, and this right here represents the redness level, the greenness level, and the blueness level. So yeah, you can read about that if you want. All right, so this is the color, the background color that we are using for our body element. Next up, within your body tag, we want to add a div. Okay, so we want to add a div, and we want to give this div an ID. The value of the ID is going to be back dash wall, and then using the div selector, which is the ID of back wall. If you want to reference an ID, we use the hash symbol and then write the name of the ID. Okay, so we'll give it a background color, background color, and the value of that is going to be this right here. Okay, now the next thing we want to do is to give our back wall, so we're still working with back wall, we want to give it a width of 100%. Then we'll give it a height of 60%. Okay, so now you can see this is our div. Now we've given it a height and a width. All right. All right, so typically HTML is rendered in a top-down manner. Elements at the top of the code are positioned at the top of the page. However, many times you may want to move the element to different positions. You can do this with the position property. Okay, so set the position property for back wall element to absolute. So we say position, give it a value of absolute. An absolute position takes the element out of that top-down document flow and allow you to adjust it relative to its container. Okay, so instead of it being one on top of the other, the absolute gives you the chance to position it anyhow you want in relation to its parent container. All right, so when an element is manually positioned, you can shift its layout with top, left, right, and bottom properties. So we want to set the back wall element to have a top value. So we say top value of 0. Okay, so as you can see, it has shifted to the very top, so now there's no space at the top for it. Okay, and we want to give it also a left value of 0. Okay, so as you can see, the left side has also shifted to the very end of the document, which was not so earlier. All right, so let's continue. Now for step 10, the z-index property is used to create what we call layers for your HTML element. If you are familiar with image editing tools, you may have, like Photoshop, you may have worked with layers before. This is a similar concept. So if you're not familiar, layers is like putting the element one on top of the other, right? So using the z-index, the one that has a higher value of z-index will be the one that will be on top. As we go on, you get a better understanding of it. So elements with a higher z-index value will appear to be layered on top of elements with a lower z-index value. This can be combined with the positioning in the previous lesson to create unique effects. Okay, so since the back wall element will need to appear behind the other elements, so for example, as you can see, this back wall, this brownish color here, is behind all of the other elements, and these ones appear to be on top. So since the backward elements will need to appear behind the other element, you'll be creating the other element you'll be creating. Give the backward element a z index of so give it a z index of -1. Okay, yeah, so step 10 will wrap up this video here, and then in the next one we are going to look at steps 11 all the way to steps 20. Okay, so see you in the next one.